Hello, America, and welcome to the Glenn Beck program and to The Blaze. This is the network that you are building, and in the coming days, we're going to show you some really exciting things that we are working on and that we're going to ask your help. But I think you're going to love them. I think you're going to be excited about them. And I just got out of a meeting right before I came down here and talked to my staff about momentum. Momentum is the key here to make sure that you know that you are not alone. And don't listen to the polls. You're on the verge of changing the world. I have to start with something. The world is going in the opposite direction that you are. And that's what makes what you're doing so monumental. If you pull this election off, do you realize the entire gears, all of the gears of the entire world are rolling this way? You're pulling it back and changing the course of the world. Do you know what a historic moment this is? The president today was speaking at the United Nations, and I want to play two short parts of his speech. Watch these.
And that is what we saw play out in the last 2 weeks. As a crude and disgusting video sparked outrage throughout the Muslim world. The future must not belong to those who slander the Prophet of Islam.
Okay. I can't tell you how important this moment is. The Project, tomorrow at 8 p.m., is a documentary that we worked 8 months on, and I will tell you that the people who have helped us with this have risked an awful lot. And the only way to stop it is to inform yourself. And I will tell you, at least at this point, we are the only network that will tell you this information. 8 months of work for 2 nights, tomorrow and Thursday. I'll tell you more about it later on in the program, and I'll give you those 2 pieces of what the president just said in full context coming up in a second. But it is a turning point, and it is important that you understand. The Obama administration now, on another topic, has tried to position themselves as the righteous warriors in the war against women, the knights in shining armor, without whom women everywhere will be forced by Republicans to wear chastity belts and swear allegiance to celibacy, or I don't know. I used to think this was all positioning and it was all about politics, but I'm actually beginning to think that there really is a war on women, and it is not being waged by the Republicans. It is being waged by the Obama administration. I want to show you Stephanie Cutter now from the Obama campaign and what she said. Listen.
You know, we'll continue doing what we have been doing, trying to get the president's message out on the ground. You know, whether it's in the suburban areas of Northern Virginia or Denver or Ohio, to talk about what the president wants to do in the future. That's the other thing that you find most often with women. They're not really concerned about what's happened over the last 4 years. They really want to know what's going to happen in the next 4 years.
Wasn't that his whole campaign? Hasn't that been his whole presidency? I've inherited this. I mean, his whole thing was, Bush was so bad, we have to change it. Okay. So women are just too disinterested, or too feeble-minded, or just not connected at all to the past, so they can't analyze the past and learn from it and then make an educated choice going forward based on those past experiences. That doesn't, really? Are you saying that women are impulse buyers? They're the ones in the shopping market? Because I know I am. In my family, I'm the one that my wife says, you don't need that, put it down. But I'm like, it's candy. It's right here at the checkout counter. I'm the one who makes the decisions in the now. My wife is the one who doesn't. It's an insult. And quite honestly, as a guy who has seen abuse in a family before, this is a classic abuser mentality. The unemployment prices, the gas prices, the credit downgrades, oh, I'll never do it again, I'm sorry, this time it's going to be different. Except this abuser isn't saying that it'll never happen again, he's really sorry. I can only make the claim that an abuser can change his ways if he actually recognizes it, and it's so rare that an abuser will do this. An abuser recognizes it and then changes his way. But this case, this abuser is in denial. Your home, your gas, they don't cost more. What are you talking about? Everything's fine. Once an abuser, always an abuser. This is a real insult to women. assuming that all they care about is having their ears tickled. Well, I'm too weak to handle the truth. Just tell me everything's going to be okay. Tell me about the future or the past. It's kind of scary. Paint me a pretty picture. Make me feel good. Make me want to have a beer with you and your friends, or just look at those amazing arms and abs. Be the eye candy for the ladies. That's what he said on The View. He's eye candy. Let me tell you something. If I ever said I'm eye candy, you're going to laugh because you know I'm laughing. This guy's not laughing. He thinks he is eye candy. Does it get any more arrogant or demeaning than that? Now you know why he's on The View all the time. He's eye candy. Because women don't really want to talk about those things. Oh my gosh. I'll tell you, I know women understand Mitt Romney is not going to mandate a no fallopian tube untied act. He's not going to do that. They know the war on women is a bogus distraction from the real issues that matter. They know this because they are the ones who are most often in the trenches and have felt the pain of the last 4 years probably more than anyone, because they are the ones that are shuffling the kids to and from practice, getting them to daycare, from ballet practice to soccer ball practice, taking them to friends' houses or going to the doctor's office with them. They're the ones that have to deal with the sticker shock. After they're carting them around, they have to stop with that van and pump it and fill it full of gas. And they're the ones standing there singing, going ding, 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 ding. They're the ones. They haven't noticed that in the last 4 years? They haven't noticed that 683,000 women have lost their jobs in the last 4 years? They haven't noticed, or they don't care, that the average cost of health care has increased, that home values are still plummeting? Hold on, before I go any further, I just realized something. I have to apologize. If I want to be safe, practice safe TV, I mean, just in case there are some of those women out there who just don't care about the last 4 years, like Stephanie Cutter said, please, let me provide some safe TV viewing for them as well. Look, it's a cat playing a piano. It's pretty soon it's going to play the piano. Happy images for the women who just want to pay attention to that. And I'll tell you later how good things are going to be, but not tie them to anything that's actually real. Women don't want this. They don't ignore real problems. Well, they just read 50 Shades of Grey. Oh, that, if I could read 50 Shades of Grey, and then, I could just watch Desperate Housewives and just think that everything's going to be like that so I don't have to worry about my fat, lazy husband. Really? I think there are some American women like that, but that is not the average person. This amazes me, especially from the supposed pro-women crowd. Do they really think? They really think that moms aren't worried when their child is sick and they don't have enough money to go for another trip to the doctor's office? Because not only have gas prices risen, but health care cost has gone up nearly $2,400 per family. Do they think that women haven't noticed the new report by the CBO that just confirmed that the fix for health care, even though it's still going up, the fix, they've now confirmed that 6 million Americans will face an average tax penalty of $1,200 under Obamacare, and that most of those affected are middle class, $55,850 or less. That's you. Do they think that women haven't noticed that their home values have plummeted since 2008, especially in 15 battleground states where they've dropped 16% in the last 4 years? 3 of those states have dropped 30%. Or that stay-at-home moms who have devoted themselves to their children full-time haven't noticed that they've now been forced to leave home and take a job in the private sector. Or they're not, it's all stressed out because they can't find work. Their husband can't find work, or they can't afford the mortgage, and they can't sell the house because it's upside down. If this is the plan for the next 4 years, more of the same, women do care very much about the last 4 years. Stephanie Cutter thinks moms haven't noticed that their kids are coming home from school every day hungry since the size of school lunches were reduced by new federal school lunch mandate. Oh, hello, Cass Sunstein, is that you? Good to see you. If you remember right, the First Lady promised that Let's Move had nothing whatsoever with interfering with parents. No nanny state here whatsoever. She said that to critics, including me, in 2011. Watch.
I think they just need more clarification about what Let's Move is really about. At the core of this effort is really giving parents information and better choices. They're absolutely right. There is no way that the First Lady can or should effectively go into someone's house and tell them what to eat. It doesn't work. It wouldn't work in my household. In fact, I would resent it. But what I do know that parents want is they want help. It's information that empowers families and communities and moms and dads. So, yeah, the critics who believe that's what Let's Move is about just need to be informed about what it really is.
What she's saying here is it's just about information. There's nothing that will interfere with your life. It's just information. Well, that's good. Does Cutter think that moms won't remember that? Rest assured, moms will remember what she just said. And they're involved in the current school lunch revolt happening all around the nation. There's a parody video that was put up by fed-up students and faculty members at a high school in Kansas. Forget the war on women. Moms care more about the war on food, the inflation, and what's happening. How about this war on food? Agents from the Division of Child Development and Early Education, a.k.a. the Lunch Police, confiscated a lunch from a preschooler for not being nutritious enough. The little girl had a turkey and cheese sandwich, a banana, a potato chip, and apple juice. Quote, did not meet the U.S. Department of Agriculture guidelines. That was the explanation. I'm sorry, that was the information. Moms in Portland certainly care about a school principal who declared that peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are a sign of their white privilege. Yes, implied racism if you bring a peanut butter and jelly sandwich to school. Moms are not ignoring that. They're most likely at home saying, what the hell is going on? Do they think mom isn't concerned when she learns that SAT scores are now the lowest they were in 4 decades? Or that schools are now okaying students to take the morning after pill without calling mom or dad? Are moms going to care that in Michigan the daycare providers now have to be unionized? Do they think moms aren't concerned when the mayor of the largest city in the world is trying to put out an out-and-out ban on formula feeding? You have to breastfeed or nothing else. Do they think that moms are concerned with a disturbing and growing pattern of nanny state trying to steal all of their parental responsibilities? What foods to eat, what subjects to learn, what foods to feed your baby? Do you think moms don't care about the state officially soon being called a co-parent like it is in Canada? Do they really think that moms care or don't care what happens to their mom and dad towards the end of their life? Did they not read the New York Times op-ed piece recently by a former Obama administration official that advocated for death panels? He said, we need death panels. That was crazy talk. That's an Obama administration official. Has anyone told moms what we said in the past about death panels is now true? And if that's not enough, they'll just dismiss this as this is just an op-ed piece in the New York Times by a former administration official. What they will leave out is that they have already changed the protocol on who gets a kidney transplant based on age. Your mother or father gets sick. I hope they don't need a kidney transplant. Used to be first come, first serve. Now it's not. Now it's who is going to use this the longest for the betterment of society? Do they not think that mom isn't laying awake at night, watching their child as they sleep? My wife gets up and looks at our children sleeping, I don't know how many times every night. Do they not think that moms are wondering now how in the world they're ever going to be able to afford a college education? College education has skyrocketed in the last 4 years, 25% increase and no end in sight. And this president's not even talking about that. Do they think mom isn't worried about the out-of-control borrowing that will absolutely strap their kids to slavery, and the government is printing money now and making our dollar worthless? You think she's just brushing off the fact that incomes are shrinking while the costs of food and gasoline are going up? Do they really think that mom doesn't care? That she's worked hard, She maybe worked 2 jobs. Husband's been working hard. They've been busting their butt, and they maybe have $10,000 in the bank. And now that purchasing power, by no fault except for this administration and the Fed, has now gone down $700. What's going to be left when they really start to print money? Do they really think that military moms aren't worried that their son or daughter might go to war? Because we're still at war. A decade after we started, and it's getting worse. Do they think military moms haven't noticed that more of their sons and daughters are dying in Afghanistan at a much more rapid pace? In the last 4 years, more died than in the previous 8. Has mom not noticed that the world is becoming much more dangerous and unstable? We have never been this close to World War III since possibly the Cuban Missile Crisis. But apparently mom doesn't know that because she only gets her news from The View, and the president goes on The View, and they never talk about any of these things. Do they not really think that millions of women are insulted at the suggestion that a stay-at-home mom who has raised 5 boys while suffering with MS, like Ann Romney, hasn't worked a day in her life?
What you have is Mitt Romney running around the country saying, well, you know, my wife tells me that what women really care about are economic issues. And when I listen to my wife, that's what I'm hearing. Guess what? His wife has actually never worked a day in her life. She's never really dealt with the kinds of economic issues that a majority of the women in this country are facing in terms of how do we feed our kids, how do we send them to school, and how do we worry, and why do we worry about their future?
America, there is a war on women, but it is not being led by the Rick Santorums of the world or the Mitt Romneys of the world. It is being led by those on the left who feel that women apparently, I don't even know. I don't know. Are they too stupid to think for themselves? They just want to look to the future and they can't connect the past? That's such an obvious lie. Those who are treating women like victims and lying to their face and appeasing them with pretty pictures of cats playing the piano. Those who are telling women the most important issue is to get free birth control so they can have sex whenever or whatever with whomever and whatever they want. And then be allowed to abort the baby at any time, even after the baby is born. So they're not punished by a baby. Women don't care about history. I think women have studied history in the last 4 years unlike they ever have before. I've met thousands of mothers that are doing it. I think this is going to backfire big time November 6th. There still are enough young American mothers and grandmothers who are raising their kids and their grandkids to the light to be honest, God-fearing, solid American citizens that do look to the leaders from the past. They do learn from the past so they can understand the past and then connect it to the future. A future that, quite honestly, not a lot of us even really fully grasp because everything is changing so rapidly. But only with the map of the past to show us where we've been before can we chart a new future. Most people probably can't even verbalize that. But I will tell you this, men and women know just based on the last 4 years, we are not headed in the right direction.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear
Mr. President.